So today what we are going to do is we are going to solve some miscellaneous examples from the chapter differentiation or derivatives. Okay, to save our time I have already solved these examples for you and I will explain them one by one. In some of the examples I have used the elimination of the options to get the correct one, and we have totally avoided the complicated or lengthy differentiation process. Okay, so without wasting any further time, let us start. Question 1. Let f of 1 be 3, f dash of 1 be negative 1 upon 3, g of 1 be minus 4, and g dash of 1 be negative 8 upon 3. The derivative of root of square of f of x plus square of g of x with respect to x at x equal to 1 is. So we have been asked to find the value of the derivative at x equal to 1, and that is the reason you can see numbers in the options. Okay, in the first step we write down the given function as it is. Let us call it y, which is root of f of x raised to 2 plus g of x raised to 2. We now differentiate both sides with respect to x, so we will get dy by dx equal to, this is a composite function and the function which is the outer one is root, and derivative of root is 1 upon 2 root. So the first step or the first derivative by the chain rule will be 1 upon 2 into root as it is. Okay, f of x squared plus g of x squared into derivative of the inner function. The inner function is this one in the purple curly braces. So we have to now apply the addition rule plus the chain rule. Okay, square of f of x will have derivative 2 into f of x, because derivative of raised to 2 is 2 into the function, into the derivative of the inner function, that is f dash of x. Okay, same thing with g of x raised to 2, 2 into g of x into g dash of x. So we have now completed the differentiation process. Now we are required to substitute the values of f of 1, g of 1, and f dash of 1 and g dash of 1. Okay, so if you substitute the values and evaluate the derivative at x equal to 1, it will turn out to be 29 upon 15. So the correct option is D. Let us go back to the options. 29 upon 15 is D. Okay. Example 2. If y is sec of tan inverse of x, then dy by dx at x equal to 1 is equal to. Again, this is a problem where after differentiating we need to substitute x equal to 1. First step, write the given function y is equal to sec of tan inverse of x. Now this is the outer function sec, and tan inverse of x is the inner function. So if you differentiate both sides with respect to x, first you need to take the derivative of the outer function, and derivative of sec is sec into tan. Okay, so that is this part, sec of tan inverse of x into tan of tan inverse of x into derivative of the inner function. Tan inverse of x's derivative is 1 upon 1 plus x squared. Now substitute the value of x, that is 1. Tan inverse of 1 is pi by 4 and sec pi by 4 is root 2. Tan of tan inverse of x, both are inverse functions of each other, so that will be simply x or 1. Okay, into 1 upon 1 plus x squared, which will be 1 upon 1 plus square of 1, which is 1 upon 2. Root 2 upon 2 will be 1 upon root 2, and that is option C. Okay, next Question 3. If f of x is equal to sine inverse of 4 raised to x plus 1 upon 2 upon 1 plus 2 raised to 4x, then which of the following is not the derivative of f of x? Okay, so this example is, or the statement of this example is suggesting that 3 of the options should be identical, because according to the statement of the problem, it says which of the following is not the derivative of f of x. Okay, as we know that only one of the options is going to be the correct option, we now need to find out the odd man out, okay, or that function which is not equal to the other functions. We observe the denominators of all 4 options. A, B and D have the same denominator, because if we consider the denominators of A and B, which are 1 plus 4 raised to 2x, we can write 4 as 2 raised to 2 or square of 2, and by using the law of indices, 2 raised to 2 raised to 2x can be written as 2 raised to 4x. Okay, so 1 plus 4 raised to 2x is as good as 1 plus 2 raised to 4x. So denominator in A, B and D, they are same. Okay, so the only option which has a different denominator is option C, which is 1 plus 4 raised to 4x, which is definitely not equal to denominator of A, B and D. So tentatively C is the right option, but we now need to verify that the numerators of A, B and D are one and the same. Okay, and that is what I have done here. Let us go to numerator of option A now. It is 2 into 4 raised to x into log 4. Write 4 raised to x as 2 raised to 2x as we did in its denominator. Log of 4 will be 2 log 2. Yes, here we have used log of a raised to x is x into log of a, this law of logarithm. Now what we can do is we can collect the powers of 2 raised to 1, 2 raised to 2x and 2 raised to 1. That will give us 2 raised to 2x plus 2 into log of 2. Go to the numerator of option B now. Okay, that is 4 raised to x plus 1 into log 2. Write 4 as 2 raised to 2. So 4 raised to x plus 1 will be 2 raised to 2x plus 2 into log of 2. So A and B are identical. Let's now go to D. D's numerator is 2 raised to 2 into x plus 1 into log of 2. Keep log of 2 as it is and just multiply the bracket by 2. So it will be 2 raised to 2x plus 2 into log 2. So what did you observe? You observed that options A, B and D not only have same numerators, but they also have same denominators. So which one of them is not the derivative of f of x? The function present in option C. Okay, next. Question 4. If x raised to y is y raised to x, then dy by dx is equal to, and we have a lot of options or a lot of complicated functions here. We will try to get the derivative by using logarithmic differentiation. Okay, now this is the first thing that should come to your mind, because in the given relation between x and y, we have x raised to y as well as y raised to x, so it is an implicit relation, and more importantly, the powers are variables. Okay, so we have no other way except to use the logarithmic differentiation. So let us take the logarithm on both the sides, which will give us y log x equal to x log y. So again we have used the same rule that we used here. This one, log of a raised to x is x into log of a. The power becomes the multiple. So after obtaining this relation, now we are in a position to start differentiating. So here we have y into log of x, so apply the product rule. dy by dx into log of x plus y as it is into derivative of the second function 1 upon x, so it will be y upon x. Do the same thing to the RHS now, but as we are differentiating both sides with respect to x, derivative of x1 log y as it is plus first function x as it is into derivative of log y, which is 1 upon y dy by dx by chain rule. Okay, next step. Now what we have done is, now what I have done is, I have picked the terms which contain dy by dx on one side. There are two of them. This is the term on the left hand side, and we have x upon y dy by dx on the right hand side. So I have moved or shifted this term here, so it has acquired a negative sign, and then you should send y upon x to the other side. So we have log of y minus y upon x. Okay, next. So now we want dy by dx on one side because that is what the question is asking us to get. So let us send log of x minus x upon y to the other side. Okay, first I will tell you how to simplify this term. Simple, just take the LCM. So it will be x into log of y minus y upon x. So it is here. Now if you take the LCM of this term, it will be y. Okay, so y log x minus x upon y. When you shift this term to the other side, the numerator will go in the denominator. So y log x minus x sits here and y will be there in the numerator. Okay, now what I have done is, I have kept this x and this y here. Okay, and I have brought y log x minus x as the denominator of x log y minus y. Alright, now comes the main part of the question. We have x log y here, and here I have written y log x. Here we have y log x, and I have written x log y. So you may ask, how did these two things appear? Okay, because rest of the function seems to be same. Okay, now you have to substitute x log y as y log x and y log x as x log y, because the options are according to that substitution, and both of them are same. Okay, if you look here, this is what we obtained by taking a logarithm of both the sides. We had x raised to y equal to y raised to x given in the problem. We took the logarithm, we got y log x equal to x log y. So we could use it here. X log y as y log x and y log x as x log y. Next is simple manipulation. First, you take y common from the first fraction and multiply that y by this y, which will give you y squared. Do the same thing with x here. So x, take x common, x into x will be x squared. So we have log x minus 1 upon log y minus 1 into y squared upon x squared. Multiply the numerator and the denominator by -1. So these two terms will change their signs. Log x minus 1 will become 1 minus log x. Log y minus 1 will become 1 minus log y. Okay, so 1 minus log x upon 1 minus log y into y squared upon x squared, that is option C. One minus log x upon 1 minus log y into y squared upon x squared. Alright, let's go to the next one now. Okay, question 5. If y is equal to sine of 2 sine inverse of x, then dy by dx is equal to. Now, unlike the first few problems, here they have not given us the value of x. Okay, so the general expression for dy by dx has been asked, and as usual we have 4 options. You observe that all of them have the same denominator. What is it? The denominator is root of 1 minus x squared everywhere. We may be required to get the numerator. Alright, first we will write down the given function, which is a composite function. Sine is the outer function and 2 into sine inverse is the inner function. So by differentiating both sides with respect to x, first derivative of outer function by chain rule, derivative of sine is cos. Second function or inner function as it is into derivative of the inner function. So derivative of 2 into sine inverse. 2 is a constant, keep it as it is. Derivative of sine inverse 1 upon root of 1 minus x squared. Okay, so we have now got the derivative, which is cos of 2 sine inverse of x into 2 upon root of 1 minus x squared. Now out of these 3 terms that we have, 1 upon root of 1 minus x squared is already present in all 4 options, isn't it? That's what we talked about when we read the problem. So now comes the main part. What could possible simplified version of 2 into cos of 2 sine inverse of x be? Okay, so it is this term, cos of 2 sine inverse of x into 2. That is what we have written in this bracket. And this is where your knowledge of inverse trigonometric functions will be tested. Okay, so let us focus our attention on simplifying the curly bracket here, or this term 2 into cos of 2 sine inverse of x. See, now here to simplify this you have to substitute for sine inverse of x. Okay, once I go through the explanation, it will become clear why I substituted for sine inverse of x. Okay, the expression that we want to simplify is this one, cos of 2 sine inverse of x. So the best substitution would be for sine inverse of x. Okay, so if we let sine inverse of x to be theta, I will get x as sine theta. Yes. Now what is this expression? This is cos of 2 sine inverse of x. So can I write it as cos of 2 theta? Yes, I can write it as cos of 2 theta using cos of a plus b or the double angle formula. Cos 2 theta would be cos squared theta minus sine squared theta, but we had substituted for sine theta, or we had substituted for sine inverse of x as theta. So let us write cos squared theta as 1 minus sine squared theta, which will lead to the simplified version of cos 2 theta as 1 minus 2 sine squared theta. So can we now write this as 1 minus 2 x squared? Yes, because we had substituted for sine inverse of x as theta, so x must be sine theta. And there we have got our required simplified version. Let me go through this one more time. The function that we wanted to simplify was cos of 2 sine inverse of x, and we had to do this because none of the options actually contains cos inverse or sine inverse. Okay, we got the derivative here, but we could not get it in the options, so we are doing the next part. Okay, in the next part The most important step is the choice of the appropriate substitution. I have substituted for sine inverse of x as theta. So x is sine theta. Then we focused our attention on the term to be simplified, which is cos of 2 sine inverse of x, which is cos of 2 theta. We expressed cos 2 theta in terms of sine theta. It turned out to be 1 minus 2x squared. Okay, so let us go back to our derivative. This one. Okay, inside this curly violet bracket, we have cos of 2 sine inverse of x. And what is the replacement for this now? The replacement is 1 minus 2x squared. Isn't it? That's what we got here. This one. Okay. And then we have this factor 2. Let's not forget that. So the correct option will be 2 into 1 minus 2x squared upon root of 1 minus x squared. Okay, so that is option A. If you take 2 common, from the numerator it will be 1 minus 2x squared divided by root of 1 minus x squared. Okay, so option A is the right option. Next is question 6. If y is tan inverse of x upon 1 plus root of 1 minus x squared plus sine of bracket 2 tan inverse of root of 1 minus x upon 1 plus x, then dy by dx is equal to. Again we have 4 options. First job is to write down the given function and to observe that it is a sum of 2 composite functions. The function in the green bracket and the function in the purple bracket. Okay. Now this is a problem based on substitutions. Okay. What kind of substitutions? Those substitutions that we make so that we could write the simplified version of the composite functions. We have solved problems of this kind. So let us proceed to simplifying the first function, tan inverse. As soon as you see the expression root of 1 minus x squared appearing in the function, the obvious choice of the substitution is going to be either sine theta or cos theta. So here I have picked sine theta. So x upon 1 plus root of 1 minus x squared will now be equal to x sine theta root of 1 minus x squared cos theta. So now use half angle formulas here. So sine theta will be 2 sine theta by 2 cos theta by 2. 1 plus cos theta will be 2 cos squared theta by 2. Cancel 2. Cancel 1 cos. So it will be tan theta by 2. So what is the first function? It was tan inverse of the bracket. And the bracket has simplified to tan theta by 2. So tan inverse of tan theta by 2, which is theta by 2, will be 1 by 2 into sine inverse of x, because x was equal to sine theta. Okay, so this is much better than the original complicated version. Now it's time to simplify the second function. Okay. The inner function in the second one is root of 1 minus x upon 1 plus x, and here the substitution is x equal to cos of 2 alpha. We have also used these substitutions in integration. There is this exercise before integration by parts, okay, wherein we make use of all these substitutions to solve the problems. So let's try x as cos 2 alpha here. 1 minus x upon 1 plus x will be 1 minus cos 2 alpha upon 1 plus cos 2 alpha. Again use the double angle formulas. 1 minus cos 2 alpha will be 2 sine squared alpha. 1 plus cos 2 alpha will be 2 cos squared alpha. Cancel 2. Tan squared alpha's root tan alpha. So what is second function? Let's go back to the original one. It was sine of 2 into this. Okay. So sine of 2 into the function, and that function has turned out to be tan alpha. Okay, so it is, if the root is tan alpha, tan inverse of tan alpha will simply be alpha, but do not forget this 2. So it is going to be sine of 2 alpha. Okay, this one. So the simplified version of the second function in terms of alpha is sine 2 alpha. Okay, now go back to the substitution for x. X was cos 2 alpha, so 1 minus x squared would be 1 minus cos squared 2 alpha or sine squared 2 alpha. Okay, so if you take the root, you have to write sine 2 alpha as root of 1 minus x squared, and that brings us the much simplified representation of the original function y. Root of 1 minus x squared will sit here, and 1 upon 2 sine inverse of x is what we got here, first function. Okay, so we will now simplify this, or rather we'll differentiate this now. Sine inverse of x is derivative 1 over root of 1 minus x squared. Root of 1 minus x squared's derivative would be first the outer function, that is root, so its derivative will be 1 upon 2 root, so 1 upon 2 root 1 minus x squared into derivative of the inner function, which is 0 minus 2x or negative 2x. Now what I have done is I have not cancelled this 2 and this 2, okay, because I saw 2 here as well. So the denominator is 2 root 1 minus x squared and the numerator is 1 minus 2x. Let's go back to the options. 1 minus 2x is not in A and in D. Now it is the choice between B and C. Observe that C has 2 in the denominator and B does not have. So the correct option is C. Okay. Question 7. If y is a function of x and log of x plus y is 2xy, so an implicit function, then the value of y dash of 0 is equal to. So first they are asking us to differentiate y or find dy by dx and then substitute x as 0. Okay, and we have the options 2, 0, negative 1 and 1. First step, as usual, write down the given function and start differentiating both sides. Here we have log as the outer function and x plus y as the inner function. So apply chain rule. Derivative of log is 1 upon, so 1 upon x plus y into derivative of the inner function. Carefully differentiate x, whose derivative will be 1, then y, its derivative y dash. Similarly differentiate the right hand side by the product rule. Take 2 a common, so it will be y plus x into y dash. Next step, open up the bracket, so it will be 1 into 1 upon x plus y dash into 1 upon x plus y, and do the same thing here. Okay, 2y plus 2x y dash. Now we observe that y dash is present in 2 terms, this term and this term. Okay, so I have brought 2xy dash to the left hand side and I shifted 1 upon x plus y to the right hand side. So it became 2y minus 1 upon x plus y, and here if you take y dash common from the second term here and the second term there, you will get 1 upon x plus y minus 2x. Okay, so to get y dash, send this box bracket to the denominator of the right hand side, which will give you y dash as 2y minus 1 upon x plus y upon 1 upon x plus y minus 2x. Okay, now you remember that in the problem they're asking us to find y dash of 0. Okay, that means x should be 0, but in the expression for derivative of y, both terms are present, x as well as y. So to get y dash of 0, we must know the value that the function assumes when x is 0. So we go back to the function. The function is this, which is an implicit function, log of x plus y equal to 2xy. Substitute x at 0. So if you substitute it, it will be log of 0 plus y equal to 0. And there is only one solution, one real solution, that is log of 1 equal to 0. And because log of 1 is 0, it implies that y must be equal to 1. Once you get y as 1, go back to this expression for y dash, substitute x as 0 and y as 1, and you can see that I have done it here. Substitute the values of x and y in the right hand side. You will find that y dash of 0 is 1, and hence the correct option is D. Okay, this was 7th one. Let's go to the next MCQ. Eighth one. Now this MCQ has made an appearance in a slightly different form in CET. If you have watched our previous year's videos, then you would have found a similar example. Okay, so this example says if g is the inverse of a function f and f dash of x is 1 upon 1 plus x raised to 7, then the value of g dash of x is equal to. Okay, see, now in this example it is slightly difficult to actually get f of x first. Okay, in that video I had actually obtained f of x from f dash of x by integrating, and then I had simplified. But here I'm going to use the definition of the inverse of a function. Okay, start with the given data. They're saying that g is the inverse of f, so g of x is f inverse of x. Now the way inverse functions have been defined, we can write the composition f of g of x as x. Example, sine inverse of sine pi by 6 is pi by 6, because sine and sine inverse are inverse functions of each other. Second, log of e raised to 2 is 2, because logarithmic function and exponential function, they are inverse functions of each other. So no matter what value you write here, f of g of x is always going to be x. Okay, now I'm going to apply the chain rule. So f of g of x is x. So here f is the outer function and g is the inner function. Okay, and this is perhaps the most important step in the entire problem. Okay, it should occur to you that we have to apply the chain rule and differentiate both sides. Derivative of x1, very easy. Now derivative of the outer function f dash, keep inner function as it is, into take the derivative of the inner function, g is a derivative g dash of x. Okay, now this step, keep g dash of x here and shift f dash of g of x to the other side. So g dash of x will be 1 upon f dash of g of x. Okay, now comes this part. In the entire solution we have not used that f dash of x is 1 over 1 plus x raised to 7. So if it is x here, then f dash of x is 1 upon 1 plus x raised to 7. So instead of x, if we write g of x, it must be 7th power of g of x. And do we have that option? Yes, that is option B. Okay, so question 8, option B. Next is question 9. Okay, now question 9 is perhaps the best example where board solution, or I would say the solution which you would write in any theory examination and the solution, or the way you find the solution of a multiple choice question. Okay, same question, but we need to follow different approaches, simply because the dy by dx that you're going to find by straight differentiation, you will not find it in any of these options. Okay, so we have to either modify it or adopt some other approach, and that is what you can see here. Okay, first what I did, I observed this and I directly started differentiating both sides with respect to x. Clearly RHS being 0, its derivative will also be 0. Okay, now I applied the addition rule, product rule and chain rule to get the derivative of the left hand side, which gave me this big relation. Okay, y dash into x by 2 root y plus 1 plus root of x plus 1 equal to -1 into bracket y upon 2 root x plus 1 plus root y plus 1. Okay, again we had got two y dash terms, so I took y dash common and wrote them on one side, and the terms that did not contain y dash, root of y plus 1 and this term, I shifted them to the other side with a negative sign. Okay, now you may simplify this, but what I did is as follows. I went back to our original relation and I shifted the y root of x plus 1 to the other side, so it acquired a negative sign. Okay, then I squared both the sides. So this became x squared into y plus 1. Negative y into root of x plus 1 became y squared into x plus 1. Okay, then I differentiated by applying the product rule. X squared y plus 1's derivative would be 2x into y plus 1 plus x squared into y dash. Do the same thing to the RHS. Derivative of y squared 2y dy by dx, or y dash, x plus 1 as it is, and then y squared as it is into derivative of x plus 1, that is 1. Okay, again you observe that y dash is present in two different terms. Okay, so accumulate the terms which contain y dash on one side and which don't on the other side. Then keep y dash on one side and shift its coefficient to the other side's denominator, so we will get this expression. Okay, 2xy plus 1 minus y squared upon 2yx plus 1 minus x squared. And now there is one more interesting part in this step. Okay, let me explain what that part is. Remember that in this step we squared both sides of the given function. Okay, now do you see x into y plus 1 here? Yes, x into y plus 1 can be written as y squared into x plus 1 upon x. You will find it here. Alright, I have not touched 2, I have kept it as it is. Go to the same expression's right hand side. Okay, can I write y into x plus 1 as x squared into y plus 1 upon y? That is what I have done here. Okay, these replacements are important. Let's go to the next step now. Observe that y squared is present in both the terms of the numerator and x squared is present in both the terms of the denominator. So take them outside. So we have y squared by x squared, okay, into 2x plus 1 upon x minus 1. That is the modified numerator upon 2 into y plus 1 upon y minus 1. Okay. Now simplify it as much as you can. Let's go to the bracket first. It will be 2 plus 2 by x minus 1 upon x. So that will be 1 plus 2 by x. Let's go to the denominator now inside the bracket, which is 2 into y plus 1 upon y minus 1. Okay, multiply the bracket by 2, split the numerators, you'll get 1 plus 2 by y. Okay, again if you take the LCM, it will be x plus 2 upon y plus 2 into y upon x. Okay, so we have now completed explanation till this, but I have still not told you how I got this term. Y plus 1 upon x plus 1 in the place of y squared by x squared. Again, let us go back to the squaring step. Okay, this one. Same step. Now we are making the use of this step for the third time now. What is y squared by x squared? Can it be written as y plus 1 upon x plus 1? Yes. So I did it here. Y plus 1 upon x plus 1. So I actually tried this further and I found out that it was getting too much complicated. So I terminated my steps here and I went back to the options. Okay, let me tell you what I did. So this is the same question. X into root of y plus 1 plus y into root of x plus 1 is equal to 0. X not equal to y, then dy by dx is equal to. Okay, option A 1 upon 1 plus x squared bracket squared. Option B negative 1 upon 1 plus x bracket squared. Option C 1 plus x bracket squared, and option D negative x upon x plus 1. Okay, now what I have done is I have picked a particular value of x. Quite often you are required to do this stuff in MCQs. You cannot do it in theory, okay, mind you. So at x equal to 1, if you find dy by dx's values, okay, option A turns out to be 1 upon 4. So simply substitute x equal to 1. Option B will be negative 1 upon 4. Option C will be 4. And option D will be negative 1 upon 2. Okay, then we need to find the value of y. So again we go back to the relation that we are given. Substitute x equal to 1 and see what we get as y. So the given relation is x into root of y plus 1 plus y into root of x plus 1. So that root of 1 plus 1 is root 2 and this one as it is. Okay, so this implies that root of y plus 1 must be equal to negative y root 2. Square both the sides. So if you square them, it will give you the quadratic equation 2y squared minus 1. Sorry, 2y squared minus y minus 1 equal to 0. So shift everything here. Now get the roots of this quadratic equation. You will find that the roots of this quadratic equation are either 1 or 1 and negative 1 upon 2. But the problem says x is not equal to y. So if x is not equal to y, then can we write y as 1? No. So we must write y as negative 1 upon 2. So we have got the values of y and x now. Well, we took x as 1 and we got y as negative 1 upon 2. Now go back to this step where I said that the later simplification was getting a lot complicated, so I stopped there. Now the benefit that we have right now is we have 4 different options A, B, C and D, and all of them give us different values for the derivative. 1 by 4, 4, negative 1 upon 4 and negative 1 upon 2 at x equal to 1. And we have reached a step wherein we can actually find the derivative. Okay, y dash. Rest is simplification. So after we obtain the values of y and x, 1 and negative 1 upon 2, our job is to substitute y as negative 1 upon 2 and x as 1 here. Okay, I've done it. If you check it, y dash will be 1 upon 2, which is negative 1 upon 2 plus 1, divided by x plus 1, 2, into x plus 2, 3, y plus 2, 3 by 2, into y upon x, so negative 1 upon 2. If you simplify that, okay, this will be 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 into 3 into 2 by 3 into negative 1 upon 2. If you simplify that, you will land up with the value negative 1 upon 4. And this value is going to help us. We are going now to the options and check which one of them gives the derivative as negative 1 upon 4. Is it B? Yes. B has given us negative 1 upon 4. Hence dy by dx is negative 1 upon 1 plus x squared. So the correct option is B. So this is the method that I have used to solve the MCQ. I'm not saying that this is the method that you should follow. If you know any simpler method, please let me know. Otherwise, follow this. Now the reason why I mentioned this at the beginning of the solution is this. If this sum comes in the board examination, then you do not have, well, I think in that case the situation is much simpler. You can just happily write it like this. Okay, y plus 1 upon x plus 1. So you can keep you can keep y in the expression for the derivative itself. Okay. But if it comes as a multiple choice question, then you have to mark the right option, and either you can simplify it. I would say you may use the same thing, squaring, and get it in this form. But the way I usually prefer solving MCQ is I always try to check some values and make sure that the options give us distinct values, like they did here. A, B, C, D. Okay, all of them were different at x equal to 1. And if it turns out that x equal to 1 gives us two options identical, change the value. Okay, fine. For instance, if we let x to be 0, then it is giving us 1 here, negative 1 here, 1 here, and negative 1 upon 2 here. So we may be required to change our value. So x equal to 0 won't work because it has given us option A and C's same value, or it has given us the same value for options A and C, so x equal to 1. Okay, and this habit or this particular approach to multiple choice questions will come to you only when you solve them on your own. Okay, I will just say, okay, check x equal to 1, check x equal to 0, but in the examination you are under a lot of time constraint as well as a lot of pressure, right? So solve as many MCQs of different or various types as you can. Don't rely on the fact that you know all formulas and all rules. Okay, because here we have not used even a single complicated formula, right? All that we have used is the formulas for root x, x squared, the product rule, and the chain rule. Okay, but it so happened that the options were different, so we had to take a modified approach. Okay, so that is 9th. Question 10, very easy. If y is equal to tan inverse of root of a minus x upon root of a plus x, where x lies between negative a and positive a, then dy by dx is equal to. We have 4 options. Again, we have to bring in our standard substitutions, that is x equal to a cos theta. So you may now note that we use the same substitutions, be it a differentiation problem or integration problem. Okay, so if you substitute x as a cos theta, the expression or the ratio root of a minus x upon a plus x would be root of a minus a cos theta upon a plus a cos theta, assuming that a is not equal to 0. Well, you have to. Then you can cancel a and use half angle formulas for 1 minus cos theta, which is 2 sine squared theta by 2, and 1 plus cos theta, 2 cos squared theta by 2. Cancel 2, take root, you'll get tan theta by 2. So what will y be? Y will be tan inverse of root thing, right? Now we have simplified the root to tan theta by 2, and tan inverse of tan has to be theta by 2. Okay, so what was theta? We did substitute for x as a cos theta, so theta must be cos inverse of x upon a. In some books, the inverse trigonometric functions are called or denoted by arc cos. So arc cos means cos inverse, arc sine means sine inverse, and so on. Okay, so this value of theta in terms of x is important. So it is 1 by 2 into cos inverse of x upon a. Once you get y in terms of a much simpler function, differentiate. Here you will need the derivative of cos inverse. Okay, negative 1 upon root of 1 minus x squared. Use it. Don't forget to take into consideration 1 upon a. Okay, once you do that, you will get option C. Negative 1 upon 2 root a squared minus a squared. Sorry, negative 1 upon 2 root a squared minus x squared. Okay, negative 1 upon 2 root a squared minus x squared. Question 11. This is a problem on parametric differentiation and also higher order derivatives. Okay, in this case the order is 2 because they are asking us to find d2y by dx squared at theta equal to pi by 4. Parameter is theta, x is a into cos theta plus theta sin theta, and y is equal to a into sin theta minus theta cos theta. Option A, 8 root 2 upon a pi. Option B, minus 8 root 2 upon a pi. C is a pi upon 8 root 2, and D is 4 root 2 upon a pi. First step, use the theorem of parametric differentiation, which says dy by dx will be dy by d theta upon dx by d theta. Okay, so this is the derivative of y with respect to theta. I don't think that needs any explanation. Derivative of sine is cos, then we apply product rule and consider this negative sign. Same thing with this. This is dx by d theta. Okay, now let us see if this leads to cancellation. Positive cos, positive sine, negative sine. Okay, then you notice that this is negative theta into negative sine theta, so that will be theta sine theta. In the denominator we have theta cos theta. Cancel theta, cancel a, so dy by dx will be tan theta. Okay, now we need to find the second derivative. Okay, so again apply the chain rule to get the derivative of tan theta with respect to x, that is d2y by dx squared, because tan theta is dy by dx. First differentiate tan, so sec squared, into d theta by dx. Okay, so this is also an important step. If you just write sec squared theta, that would mean d by d theta of dy by dx, but that is not what we are looking for. We are looking for d by dx of dy by dx. So we have to consider d theta by dx chain rule. And by the theorem of derivative of inverse functions, d theta by dx can be written as 1 upon dx by d theta, provided it is not equal to 0. So we have to now use the same expression dx by d theta which we got here in this step, okay, by the theorem of parametric differentiation, dx by d theta. So I have used it there. Okay, and then you have to substitute theta as pi by 4. Numerator will be 2. Keep a as it is. In the denominator, again these two terms will go, theta pi by 4 cos theta 1 upon root 2. If you simplify that, you will get 8 root 2 upon a pi. Alright, and that is option A, 8 root 2 upon a pi. Alright, so 11th is done. Yeah, so this is the last one now. Question 12. If y is equal to a cos log of x and a into d2y by dx squared plus b into dy by dx plus c equal to 0, then the values of a, b, c are. Okay. Now, this is one of the standard differential equations that you will see in engineering mathematics. Okay. This is popularly called as Cauchy's differential equation, or also sometimes called as Euler's differential equation. Okay. These differential equations are higher order differential equations, because you can see that now it is d2y by dx squared. In your syllabus you only have first order, but this is a second order. Okay, higher order differential equations with variable coefficients. Now what are the coefficients here? The coefficients here are a, b and c. Okay, now if I know the solution, that's why I have written it. Actually, the general solution of the Cauchy's differential equation of second order is this one: c1 cos of log x plus c2 sin of log x. Alright, and in the problem, the solution does not contain c2 sin log x. It simply contains c1 cos log x, where c1 and c2 are arbitrary constants. Okay. Now I told you that this is a second order differential equation. That is the reason its general solution has two arbitrary constants, c1 and c2. Okay, but as they have not given c2, you may say that this is a particular solution, c2 is 0. Okay, so if y is a cos log x, the standard form of Cauchy's differential equation is this, and if f of x is 0 or the right hand side, then the general solution is c1 cos log x plus c2 sin log x. Okay, so if we have this as the general solution, or even this as the general solution, the differential equation is x squared d2y by dx squared plus x dy by dx plus y equal to 0. Okay, now the reason why I am telling you this is because if you start differentiating y equal to a cos log x 2 times, substitute it here, I don't know how much time that will take to solve the differential equation, and it takes actually more time to solve the differential equation using the techniques of integration, which you will learn definitely in engineering mathematics. But as of now, for this MCQ, please try to remember this. Okay, x squared d2y by dx squared plus x dy by dx plus y equal to f of x. So basically that ordered derivative is accompanied by the corresponding power of x. Second ordered, second power. First order, first power. Zeroth ordered derivative, x raised to 0. Okay, and already the right hand side is 0. So x squared, x and y. Option B. So this was the extra MCQs part that I wanted to take. These 12 MCQs are from the new textbook of Maharashtra State Board, okay, which will be implemented from this year, that is 2020-21. In your textbook, the old syllabus, the board has not included any multiple choice question. Cool. So this is the end of differentiation. Tomorrow we will solve applications of derivatives.